podcast. We're back after a long time. This is a movie about sports, movies, and it's a podcast.
So it's
Shall we
clearly
start
been a
again?
while. No, let's continue.
Let's go with it. How have you been, James?
I've been very well. Since our last podcast, we're out of lockdown. So it's very exciting. And now, surprisingly, in the UK, we've had very sunny weather. So that's a nice change. So enjoying the sun. What about you, Tara?
To be honest, the 4 months seemed like a blur. It felt like it was just yesterday. But actually, we decided we wanted to test our memories over the last 4 months.
Yeah.
And give each other 30 seconds to just talk about the biggest things that have happened.
Okay, so do you want to start?
I can start.
Okay, let's go for it. So...
Oh, no, I don't know. I don't remember anything.
Well, this is part of the game. All right.
Okay.
I'm going to count you down.
So 30 seconds.
30 seconds.
Okay, I think I'll do about 5. Let's try it.
And if not, we just talk in between. All right.
So these are sports and movies.
Yeah, just give a summary of the last 4 months.
Summary of the last 4 months. A lot has happened. Okay, let's see.
3, 2, 1.
Okay, so since this February, already off to a great start. I'm just trying to run down the time. Oh shit, went quicker than I thought. Okay, we've had the Oscars. We have had the NBA All-Stars. We have had a new series of My Dad Wrote a Porno. I've turned 24 last weekend.
Amazing.
Congratulations to me.
Happy
We both got
birthday.
our jabs,
Yep.
which is exciting. 30 seconds quickly.
Wow, okay.
I missed everything there. Oh, I've got so many more ideas now. So can I just do a quick little shout out to
Should we do a quick
One
little
Division.
15 seconds?
No, just a shout out to One Division because that was immense. And that was after February, right?
Yeah, so I guess since we've stopped recording the podcast, Marvel's been releasing content every single week, so...
I mean, doing better than us. So.
Fine.
We walk so they could run, really. they should thank us.
So 30 seconds. That did go quicker than I thought, actually.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
So I guess I'll primarily talk about sport, but any movie news will just jump up, I guess. Okay, we're going to talk about this now, but Euro starting within 2 days, I guess. Premier League champions, Man City. Champions League winners, unfortunately, Chelsea. We don't like that, but oh well. If we talk about other leagues, Lille won the French league, which is great considering PSG are just this billionaire giant who just takes everyone's players, so we don't like them. Inter won the Serie A, which is a nice change as they stopped Juve winning their 10th Scudetto. And that's 30 seconds.
There we go. Good job, James. Good job. Better than me.
Not a competition.
Oh, well. Oh,
so again, we're all caught up.
I would think that we're a bit rusty, and don't get me wrong, we are. But It was nice to have a little bit of, craziness to start off with, I guess.
Well, it's been, 3 minutes into the podcast, we haven't referenced Twilight, so I think we've done pretty well, I think.
Oh, okay, so shall we get started with the sports?
Yeah.
Because there was a lot of stuff you rattled off in those 30 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, I guess May is the time.
Technically, I would like to say we said what has happened in the last 3-4 months, and you did say Euros.
Ah, yeah.
So really, I won.
Technicalities.
Well, let's just go on to talk about it then.
Okay, right. So the Euros is, I think, starting on Friday, and it's Euro 2020. So it was meant to happen last year. Obviously, it's been pushed back due to the pandemic, but they're still branding it as Euro 2020.
Is it a Olympics type for every 4 years?
Yes. So Euros happen every 4 years. So what you do is similar to the Olympics, which, the Olympics is also happening this year, which seems somewhat controversial considering how many countries you're bringing in together. Will there be fans? I don't know.
Are they still calling it Tokyo 2020 or are they saying 2021?
That one I have not researched. I think they'll be calling it 2021. I guess the branding of Euro 2020 is also because of the every 4 year aspect, which maybe the Olympics will follow. But speaking of the Euros, it's a competition that will be hosted, I think, for the first time or by hosts of lots of countries. So Bulgaria hosting some games, England are hosting some games, and some other countries that I'm not entirely sure about. If we look on smart, no, what's it called?
Odds checker?
Odds checker. Perfect. Exactly. You're doing my job for me. We can see that France are favourites, and actually, England are second favourites on, as we check odd checker today.
Football's coming out?
Oh, wow. Let's see. Belgium, third favourites, and then Italy. I would say, personally, France and Portugal are my teams I would think would go the furthest, but actually, France and Portugal are in the same group, dubbed the group of death with
We
Germany.
love a bit of drama, don't we?
Germany and I believe it's Hungary. So unfortunate for the Hungarians. They may not. They shouldn't just turn up. But actually, like I mentioned, I think. Oh, so I said Bulgaria has hosted games, but I think it's Hungary. So added spice towards the group of death is the weakest team by far, Hungary, has got home court advantage. So we've been watching too much NBA. I think some of their games are hosted in their country, so that is an advantage, just being more familiar. So Tara, tell me some of the memories you have of the Euros and what comes up.
I think you're asking the wrong person here. The only Euros I know is Eurovision, which
Oh,
is quite good,
very nice.
No, sorry, I don't actually know. Is it like the World Cup but just Europe?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
That's as much as
that's
I
the
know.
perfect description. Think of the World Cup but just Europe.
Okay, and who won last year or last 4 years?
Portugal.
Okay, so that's why they're your favourite? Why? Because the odds aren't saying them. What's your reasoning?
Well, I'm surprised that they're not within the top four favourites, and actually Italy, as we see, maybe these are just the odds they are giving me that are the best value. But the reason why I say Portugal have such a great chance is, firstly, they got Ronaldo.
Mm-hmm.
That's hard to argue, but also their team in general is filled with lots of stars. We talk about Bruno Fernandes, we've got João Felix, we got Diego Jota. They got a good back four. We got Cancelo, we got Diaz, we got Pepe or Fonte, and also the type of football they do is like, I guess that with a good defense, I think will go a long way in this competition. Attack is like what everybody says you have to have, but when it's tournament football, you need experience as well. And Ronaldo as a serial winner and having won it last time, I think it'll be good value. Because actually, last time they didn't win many games, and I will talk about the format in a minute. They didn't win any of their group games. They were the best third place team, and which meant they still progressed, and they just kept winning, and then they beat France in the final.
Interesting. So you're saying France, Portugal again? Well, they can't because they're in the same team, but
Yeah, I haven't looked at the bracket, so I think maybe depending where they finish in the group, they may finish on different brackets and meet again in the final. Which will be interesting because I guess since France has won the World Cup, so two great teams basically. The England odds maybe a bit too much, I think. So according to Odd Checker, or at least wherever you check, England are amongst the favourites. Maybe the reason why we say that is because lots of people are believe in England, which is why they are such strong favourites, because we're not just talk about quality, just talk about ignorance here.
Yeah.
Saying that,
who's the England coach?
Gareth Southgate, Mr. Waistcoat himself.
He did pretty well for us last time.
Yeah, in the World Cup.
Yeah.
He brought us to the semi-finals. Really should have been the finals, but I remember we watched that game on the plane as we were going to Japan, if you remember.
Oh yeah, that was mad.
Yeah, and I didn't think we'll have time to watch it, but I guess we were waiting for takeoff for such a long time that we saw like the free kick,
I mean,
and maybe you've got
everyone was
Wi-Fi
watching
on the.
it. No, there's Wi-Fi
plane. I
on
can't
it.
remember.
Everyone was watching that game.
Yeah.
It was mad. Half the people were asleep. Half the people were sadly watching the game and getting more sad as it went on.
So frustrating. Got to extra time and there was no hope at all. But maybe better this time. Their attack is amazing. They've got Harry Kane, Sterling, Sancho, three of the best attackers in Europe, really. But I'm not sure I believe they will go all the way.
So I think this is quite a good opportunity to have our first bet of the podcast. What are your thoughts?
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Well, when did the Euros finish?
I think I saw a date of maybe around 22nd of July. Let's just say end of July.
End of July. Well, we'll see if we can keep up the podcast that long because we did last time. But if we do, so you put your odds on Portugal?
Well, my favourites are France.
Your favourites are France.
My favourites are France. What type of bet are you thinking?
No, just sportsman bet. Nothing too serious.
But as in, you want to take one of the teams, I'll take the other?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, but I'm going to choose my team.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it might not be France, might not be Portugal. Can I have a little look at the odds tracker again, James? Let's pull it up. I am going to say... I feel like it's going to be a hot summer. It's going to be a hot Italian summer.
Wow. Interesting.
That's my thoughts. I love a bit of an underdog.
Interesting. Well, Italy historically are known as a great team.
Mm-hmm.
They've had recent struggles, but now with Roberto Mancini, who won Man City's like famous Aguero moment league title, is the manager, and they've actually got very nice, interesting players.
There you go.
Maybe weaknesses at fullback, but looking at the bracket, Italy might go far. I like that shout.
I think Italy will go far, and they will win the Euros. I think that's what I'm saying.
Wow, okay. So what is our bet here?
It's just win or lose.
So you're saying Italy?
Huh?
You're saying Italy? Yeah. Okay. Why don't we do this? I have France and Portugal, you have the field.
I've everyone else.
Yeah. I'm basically taking the favourites.
I don't really like it. I don't like it.
But that includes Italy. Italy as your main...
It feels like you're just like talking down to me now. I feel like condescended. I'm just not a fan.
Okay.
I think you're basically saying Italy is shit and you're not going to win the bet.
I don't believe Italy will win.
I believe Italy will win.
Okay, fine. So
I have a strong belief, James.
So I'm taking France and you're taking Italy.
Yep. I would prefer you took Portugal because I feel like that's
I'll
more
take
interesting.
Portugal.
Yeah?
I'll take Portugal.
Okay, shake on it.
Great.
There you go. Very good.
Fantastic.
Good work with it.
We can maybe think of a punishment afterwards.
There's no punishments. It's just glory or nothing.
To be continued.
Fair enough.
Okay, fine. Exciting. Watch the Euros.
Yeah, that'll be fun to watch. We've been watching a lot more sports recently.
Yeah.
Watching a lot more NBA.
Fantastic.
Tell them the deal, James. Tell them the deal.
Yeah, so I recently bought League Pass, which for UK listeners out there is like a subscription service Americans or just worldwide fans buy to keep up to date with their NBA teams. But I discovered this sort of annual pass, which is I think $24.99, and
is that per month?
Well, this was annual, so per year. So, but what it does, it ends at the end of the season. So I guess I have this until September. But little did I know, because I didn't think that £25 would include playoff games.
Ooh.
But I spoke to the tech support, text them, live chats with them, and I have been watching quite a lot of NBA playoffs.
We have been.
Yes, we have been in the mornings and in the evenings with Tara. So Tara now is quite a follower of the NBA. As she has an announcement because she follows...
James, you don't even have a team, do you? Are you really an NBA fan if you don't actually have a team? You're just an all-rounder. You like to look from the sidelines.
See, I think it's because I'm very picky. I'm someone who's, born in North London. My team I support, I have one team, which is Arsenal.
Mm-hmm.
With American sports, oh, wow. Yeah, we're not talking about Arsenal on the podcast
Yeah.
until at least a couple of months now. Maybe
There's
the next time we do a
until
podcast.
next time they score a goal, maybe we'll
Oh.
celebrate it, but that'll be a while.
Enough of the Arsenal talk. It's draining my energy already. But with the NBA, look, I'm not American. That doesn't mean I can't be, support a team. But I want that sort of attachment I have Arsenal. With Arsenal, I can be irrational enough, logical. I know what Arsenal are and how good they are. But I want to be that irrational love, which I haven't got with an American team because I haven't been brought up with the NBA culture.
Yeah, in the way I have my irrational love.
Yeah, exactly. Well, so why don't you tell the listeners who is your new fond team?
Well, but before we start, I'd just like to say that I chose this team. Well, really, we chose each other before their new success. What did they say? What was glory hunter? I'm not a glory hunter. I'm not out here for gold. If anything, I supported the Phoenix Suns before they were even getting there. So I think the first game I watched was Phoenix Suns.
Yes, so I guess to add context, it was during the NBA bubble, peak, well, I don't know if it was peak, but peak coronavirus. And I was watching, I think it must have been a Sunday, and I was watching the Suns Clippers game. And it was one of those 8 warm-up games they had for the regular season or bubble season, whatever you want to call it. And I was watching it with Tara, and it was the game where Devin Booker hit the game winner. So, quite a treat for your a proper first game you watch as an NBA game. I think the Phoenix Suns actually went 8-0. They won all the games at the bubble, but still wasn't enough to get to the playoffs.
Just let you know, when I said the Phoenix Suns weren't good, I meant I didn't know they were good.
Well, they weren't good. When you first watched them, at that moment, they weren't good. But they just had this incredible run in the bubble. Amazing. And in the offseason, they got Chris Paul and has since finished second in the Western Conference. And obviously, they came up round 1 against the Lakers, which for many, including myself, was probably the favourites to win the whole thing, maybe at least the West.
I mean, literally a year ago, if you asked me, do I know any NBA players, I would literally only know LeBron James.
Right. Exactly.
LeBron James, he is the player, right?
Yeah.
No match, LeBron. Wow. Come for my boys.
So Phoenix, spoilers out there for those who don't know yet, but Phoenix did beat the Lakers in the round 1. Look, if we want to add
absolute carnage.
If we want to put excuses out there, if the Lakers were fully healthy, LeBron and primarily AD.
I didn't see AD on the pitch. He wasn't there.
Okay, so he played at least in game 2 and game 3.
No, I mean, he was there, but he wasn't there. You know what I mean? Like, bless his soul, he gave it his best, but he's just not feeling it. I don't think it's not his time right now. He needs a break.
Saying that Chris Paul was a bit injured too, so...
I know, but C-3PO brought it out for us, injured or not.
But the Suns were amazing. And every time we watched them, the Suns just kept getting massive leads. And Tara was like, oh, well, is it... I guess because sometimes she wasn't sure, is this close? And I just had to give her a resounding, no, this is not close. This is like a ridiculous lead relative to... It's the Lakers. It's LeBron.
Yeah, and even though you don't have a team, you would say you would support the Lakers in terms of that game, right?
Yeah, well, I was interested to see how far LeBron could go. And sure, I wanted to feed into, if you're the Phoenix Suns, I will take the Lakers side. It does make it more fun, doesn't it? And it was a resounding win for the Phoenix Suns.
I'm very excited for our Portugal-Italy final in the Euros.
Oh, that would be fantastic.
That would be so
I really want Portugal to play Italy at least.
Yeah.
Just to have the Final Shots podcast derby.
Mate, we're going to have like a live stream of it. We're going to like commentary?
I think we should, I should go Portugal, you should go Italy, and we should, to the Amber Portugal. But
I mean, yeah, you'll be stuck there for a while. That's not too bad. It's nice and sunny.
I'll take it. But, okay, a little bit of, not trivia, a bit of a test.
Oh, no.
Tara,
jeez.
She seems to know a lot of the Phoenix Suns squad, so why don't you just, should we give you a couple, I won't time it, but a couple of seconds. Let's see how many
the issue
players
now,
you can name.
It's like when you're watching The Weakest Link
Right,
But
there's
you know what I should be like.
£500 on the
Oh
line.
no.
Okay, this is what we're gonna do.
Okay.
Actually, no.
Okay, let's
Keep
just
going.
go for it.
Keep
Okay,
going,
we
yeah.
got Chris Paul III. His full title.
Perfect.
Devin Booker.
Perfect.
Jay Crowder.
Yep.
The one that sounds like Will Smith's kid, Jaden Smith, but it's not. Jalen Smith.
Jalen Smith.
Jalen
Perfect.
Smith. There's the Boris Johnson one, isn't it? Cameron Johnson.
Perfect.
Two worst prime ministers.
Cameron Johnson. Yeah.
Cameron Hughes.
No, there is another Cameron.
Oh, is it?
There is
Should
another
I keep
Cameron.
going?
Just keep going.
Oh, but do I know anymore? I do know them. You know I know them.
There's the pressure, there's the spotlight. I would say her average of getting them was about 10 players, which is incredible.
I think we're going to have to leave it there.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I know.
I'm going to name a few names.
Oh, wait. Frank
Oh, yeah. Kaminsky, I'll give you that one.
I was going for a little draw the boys.
Can you go any more? I'll give first names and see if you get any. DeAndre?
Ayton.
Perfect. Mikal?
Bridges.
Perfect. And Dario?
Oh,
This
don't
is
know
one
his
of the ones
second
you
name,
didn't know.
but I remembered because it's like Dario Naharis, but it's not.
Dario Saric?
Saric. We love Saric.
This one I'm not entirely sure you know. Tori?
Don't know.
Craig.
Sorry, Craig.
Or
as they like to say, Craig.
Oh, is that true?
Yeah.
Oh, perfect.
Americans say Craig.
And Jevon? I don't know if we've covered this, the boy. Carter.
Oh, no. You know what? Next week I will do better. I will come back and I'll bring my A game. I'm a disgrace to the Phoenix Suns. I said we deserved each other, but I guess not.
So maybe we'll do regular updates on the Phoenix Suns during the playoffs. Just as an update, they're playing the Denver Nuggets in the second round.
Yeah.
No, not second. Yeah, second round of playoffs. They took the first game.
Of course they did.
Chris Paul taking over in the fourth quarter. Amazing stuff. Can the MVP Jokic respond?
No, he can't. He can't.
Okay. That's fantastic. So I think that's enough sports for Monday.
Yeah. I'm excited to see them beat the Clippers. It'll be good. That'll be a good game.
So you're already calling a Clippers-Phoenix Western Conference final?
Yeah, of course.
Fantastic. That's so interesting.
As much as I don't want the Clippers to progress, I do just to wipe the smile off their faces, to be honest.
Yeah. If Phoenix can win the final, like...
We beat LeBron and AD. Who else you got to come at us?
Kawhi PG, maybe.
Is it Kyrie? Where's Kyrie from?
Brooklyn Nets.
Okay, not Kyrie.
Kawhi?
Kawhi, that's what I was thinking of.
Kawhi and Paul George.
I mean, that was quite a game we watched. It was like Clippers and...
Mavericks. It was game 7. But Doncic just didn't quite have enough, but it was amazing.
I mean, game 7 is always an exciting one, isn't it?
Yeah. Wasn't as exciting as you'd have hoped because actually they got quite a big lead, unfortunately. But to even get them to game 7, when most people thought maybe Clippers would get through, but Doncic was just amazing. Okay, so...
That's all the NBA for today, is it?
Yep. So I guess onto the films and TV.
Oh, in my section. Okay. Well, really, now I feel like I'm just a sports person now.
Yeah, I agree.
But well, actually, we don't have too much to talk about with film and TV.
Okay.
Because I feel like as we've spent 3 months away, I feel like it's something that happens like every single day. There's new news, you know.
Yeah.
So our new news of today is the Kim's Convenience debacle.
Yes.
Yes. So we're big fans of Kim's Convenience.
Yeah, as a sitcom goes. Okay, so interestingly enough, we're going to touch upon the sort of drama, the news about it. Overall, it is actually still very nice to watch a show that has Asian representation. As a Asian myself, like Oriental Asian, we're talking about here. Like,
I feel like that's a bad word, but you are Asian, so that's fine.
Okay, whichever way, fine. it is nice to see, I guess, not just a primarily white cast.
I just love that no one knows what we look like. So really, you could just be a white guy and be like, "Yeah, I'm Chinese."
Yeah, yeah. Well, when we maybe go to video, we'll do a big reveal. But no, I primarily enjoy Kim's Convenience. At least before this news, yeah, it's a show I very much enjoy, and it's very funny and also heartwarming. Something
Yeah.
about a sitcom, like with Parks and Recs and Community, if you do care about the characters, it does go a long way. Where even if the jokes don't hit, you still enjoy the story.
Yeah, it's like when we first watched Fresh Off the Boat, which I feel like was definitely the first show I'd watched that really showed like the Asian experience.
Yeah.
Like, also, I'm not Asian. Well, I'm not Southeast Asian. I'm half Asian. I'm half Pakistani, half Irish.
Yeah.
I kind of forgot for a second.
Maybe Scottish, but we
Who knows? Who knows? There's a lot in there. But yeah, no, it was the first time I'd seen something like that, and it was great watching it with you, James, because there'd be so many little bits which was clear that the writers were Asian. You know what I mean? Like little things like, I don't know, getting spam at the shopping.
Spam. I did introduce, for the listeners out there, if you want a nice, cheap, heartwarming meal, boil some rice, primarily in a rice cooker, but if you haven't got one available, that's okay. You can use any normal pot and pan, just make rice as
Don't
you will.
sieve it though. Uncle Roger would not be happy.
Exactly. That's blasphemous. If you're gonna do that, go buy microwave rice or something.
Yeah.
Like, just don't do that to rice. Jasmine preferable, to be honest, for for this experience. Then you get a can of Heinz beans, if not whatever your choice of beans are.
I wonder if Asian Americans would do that as well, because I feel like beans is so British. I feel like that might just be a Asian British thing.
Maybe. I would love to hear more from our American listeners, I guess. But yeah, nice can of beans, chuck it in a microwave. 3 minutes, bobbling. Perfect. And then, so you got two options here. The healthier option, in a rice cooker, sometimes you can sort of steam, you have like a steaming section. You cut up the spam into sort of, bite-sized pieces and put it to steam. So then what we have, so the meal is spam, beans and rice. And guys, don't switch off the podcast. Hear me out here. You've got the nice saltiness of the spam, the nice sweetness of the beans, and then the rice just complements it all well together. And Tara's skeptical at first as well. She definitely was. And I think everybody has this conception that spam is this horrendous school dinner food. And if I was having that for school dinners, I'd be a very happy boy. So if you do want to make it just a bit extra delicious, you can just fry the spam a bit, and it makes it nice and crisp.
Oh, it's so good fried.
Extra salty. Perfect. For anyone who wants to be a bit more adventurous, I would add maybe some Chinese sausage, which adds a gorgeous saltiness to it. Tara, please tell me tell the listeners how delicious this dish is.
I mean, I think you just have to try it yourself. I can't describe it in words, but I would just say perfect comfort food.
Oh, yeah. That's cheap,
And, you can buy all the ingredients at a convenience store.
Oh, wow, yeah.
So, back to the story.
Yeah. So, essentially, it's the last season 5, and I guess the actor, the main male lead, Jun, and the
Mrs.
Kim have come out on Twitter saying how maybe the writers room, the producers, I guess the higher up positions in the production and development in Kim's Convenience is predominantly white, and that they're a bit saddened by the lack of influence a lack of Asian influence within those higher up positions, where they are Asian Canadians who would have real life experiences that just makes this show a bit more organic. Or basically, also you'd want the show to be more authentic, like certain jokes or certain sort of tropes they may use definitely goes a long way if you know that it's from an Asian writer or producer. Like, but if it does come from sort of like, white producers or writers, it definitely makes it a bit more sort of feel a bit more potentially distasteful in the jokes that they, say or portray.
Yeah, I think it's a really interesting one because I think with a general TV show, there's always the kind of issue of when you're an actor and you believe your character will act a certain way. It's really frustrating when you get the script, or even even think of like that Friends episode when Joey finds out his character dies, and he's like desperately tries not to make it happen. Right? I can understand why that's frustrating for actors, but also why it's frustrating for writers and why actors shouldn't have that influence. However, I think this is a completely different case. I think this is a very unique case in which, Kim's Convenience is one of the only, it's the only Asian Canadian show, I think, right? And it's actually really important in the way it looks at Asian storylines. So it's not just a general show with Asian people in, it's like a very much, this show is important in Asian culture, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So having white writers, and especially, I mean, I haven't seen the new season. We haven't seen it.
No.
So just going off what the actors have said, they're saying, there were times they had to go with storylines they felt were racist. Yeah. And that should never be the case, especially because there's an element of, if an Asian person is saying something, it's definitely more fine than if a white person's saying something, if that makes sense.
For Asian culture we're talking about.
Because, if you live the Asian experience, you can comment on that, if that makes sense. But yeah, so that's kind of mad.
Yeah, it's interesting because it's sad when you watch a show which, before this, I thought it was a good quality show, good jokes, and like I said, very heartwarming. It's just sad to feel the actors have felt like this. But I don't know if they felt this at the start, but at least they feel it now, and we will be watching season 5 just to see. And it'd be interesting to see, how we view it. Hopefully, we won't be clouded too much by this news, and just actually objectively watch it, and just see for ourselves if we feel it is either uncomfortable or just maybe the actors don't seem as engaged because of this news.
Yeah, it's hard.
But it's hard to detach.
A bit of taste in your mouth, doesn't it?
It definitely does. Which is it's sad to hear, but especially when there's talent out there, it doesn't have to.
Exactly.
That's the thing. It's like it's not. When we talk about inclusivity.
Yeah.
It's not it's not like a token gesture.
Yeah.
There are talent out there, and it's just literally because there's a lack of representation. So we want to bring in that representation.
Exactly.
Because they are talented people. It's not this is our token.
Exactly.
Asian guy, black
so that
guy.
we can't be cancelled on Twitter, right?
No, we want to choose very talented people and give them this opportunity.
Yeah, because it comes out in the storylines, you know what I mean? Like, maybe I'm wrong, maybe we'll find out Fresh Off the Boat is written by white people. I don't think it is. But, like, that spam storyline, I'm like, that is so truly Asian American experience.
Yeah.
Like, but also, like, okay, this is a possible bad take. I think it's fine for white writers to write other people's experiences. I think just as long as you do your research and it's well done, do you know what I mean? I also don't think there's a reason for only white writers to be writing these experiences, though. You know what I mean? Because, like you're saying, there are other people there. But at the end of the day, what you need is, like, good representation. And part of me worries that because white writers don't want to, well, they clearly do and they still do, but write other experiences, it will mean we have less experiences on show. And I want people to take this not as a criticism, but as like, okay, you need to learn and actually get, people of colour on board. And if not, at least listen to their stories, right? Because otherwise you get bad representation or you get no representation, and we want neither, to be honest.
Yeah. It's really hard to decide on the sort of balance in a way, because still in this world, I guess, unfortunately, and, I think everyone is trying hard to address it, but it is a predominantly white dominant industry.
Yeah.
And in that probably means, especially higher up, sort of white producers or writers have more of an avenue to get for a show to get greenlit, basically.
Definitely.
And if we think about the cast of Kim Convenience, if we added the fact that, let's say, he is a white writer, or but did take a lot of influence from his
Yeah.
actors that are Asian Canadian, then surely I feel like criticizing that would be wrong because, okay, sure, he's a white writer, and you could be like, well, an Asian actor would be just as good, but in terms of the storylines, it is authentic enough because we're talking about sort of real life experiences, or people that know exactly what they're talking about in terms of, because it's their culture.
Yeah.
It's something they're proud of.
I think that's the thing, isn't it? I feel like the actors were just so frustrated that they weren't being heard.
Mm-hmm.
And then also that they were the ones having to then play out these, I think what they were talking about, like stereotypes that they didn't feel were right, you know what I mean? Also, you can't ignore the fact, they were saying that they were getting paid less than other shows.
Mm-hmm.
That they also, the spin-off is of the only white actress in the show, basically.
Spin-off, because I don't think that's happening now.
Yeah, maybe not. But it just seems weird for an Asian show to then do that. Look, I don't know much about it. Maybe it is Asian-centered as well, but it seems weird that the main character would be the non-Asian person in the show, you know? As much as I really like her character, I think she's great, it just feels like a weird move.
So we saw that on the BBC article, and they mentioned that anecdote of potentially a spin-off show of the white character that is Jun's manager.
Yeah.
In the car wash, or no, it's not a car wash actually. It's
mechanic
the car
store?
company.
It's been a while since we watched the show.
And in a
Please
show
do your own research. Don't trust us on anything.
In a show that has a lot of Asian characters, great quality characters. Firstly, I don't know if her character is actually good enough for a spin-off anyway. She's quirky, it's funny.
She just didn't get the screen time, right? And there's not much depth because she didn't get the screen time, which is fair enough because it's about the Kim family.
But it just adds to this sort of ongoing narrative that, like, white is in a way superior. Like, what in the Asian show, how is the spin-off you're considering is of the not rarely seen character that's the white character. It doesn't really make sense. And
I think his friend would have been much more interesting.
Yeah, I agree. Like, really funny.
Yeah.
Got that sort of underdog story that you can follow. Spin-offs don't really do well typically, so to be honest, I don't think it would do well regardless of what character. But it's just saddening to hear the thoughts of the spin-off just goes back to the biases still in the industry.
Yeah.
Especially in this predominantly like Asian cast, and which is great to see. It's just a bit sad to.
Yeah, I mean, especially after the year we've had and like the increase in Asian hate crimes and everything.
Exactly.
It's just like kick in the face, basically.
But
I mean, I guess that's kind of all we've got to say about Kim's Convenience.
Yeah, we'll give you an update once we've watched the season.
Yeah, I guess what are we watching right now then, James?
Yeah, so we've been watching quite a lot actually. We recently caught up to date with Handmaid's Tale.
Yeah, so just spoilers as always. This is a spoilery podcast, but she has got to Canada.
I know. I mean, maybe a season too late, but sure.
So, just as context, I'd seen all the seasons up until this point, and James caught up, and so that we could watch the newest one together. And as a pre-warning, I told him, yeah, I love it. It's a great show. Just a warning, it's maybe should end soon. Because she keeps, every season, she almost gets there, and she doesn't.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, what's season 5 going to be? She's almost going to get there, and she doesn't. But she did.
I can't believe she...
You sound speechless, James.
I actually am, because just to give the two scenarios, so there's one time that she could have escaped. She was in the aeroplane, but she got caught. Fine. No problem there. Would have cut the series very short, and I guess that's not what HBO want.
Yeah.
The second time she could have escaped, it was her choice to stay. And, for those who maybe don't know the Handmaiden world, the law of it, it's a shit place. That's all I can say. Basically, the handmaidens are treated like slaves, and it's ridiculous. And I think so. The Marthas, which are, I guess, old women who can't help with the reproduction, or like, so there's a fertility problem in the world, and Gilead, which is the place, which is America, where the handmaidens are, have this took it upon themselves to kind of force reproduction, basically. But yeah, anyway, sorry. The Marthas are just old women who sort of help look after the house, etc. But they helped June to.
Sorry, James, just to distract you. We were talking about how Twilight hasn't made an impact on this podcast.
Yeah.
I don't know if the listeners can hear, but there is a dog howling like a wolf. I think he's saying we need a little mention of Jacob. I think that's Jacob just shouting out.
Oh my gosh.
Sorry to interrupt you there. I just thought it was quite funny.
No, I mean, this is a Twilight podcast.
It is a Twilight podcast, and we've been neglecting our duty. So, sorry, carry on, yes.
No, but, so, the Marthas, I guess it's like a secret network. They got her a chance to escape. And her friend, who the name I forgot, who played Rory in Gilmore Girls.
Yeah.
Let's just call her Rory, because that's what I call her. That's one thing bad when I recognize characters. Yeah. I just call her by the Daenerys of the Emily Clark world.
It's true. We're in Handmaid's Tale. We've got June, main character.
Yeah.
We've got Poussey, and we've got Rory.
Poussey being the Orange is the New Black character.
Yeah.
But no, so she could have escaped. She was in the car, and she's got this newborn baby. She gave the newborn baby to her friend and decided, no, I'm staying. And look, the reasoning behind it, there is some logic. She doesn't want to leave her firstborn behind. But in this situation where you have no power, actually don't even necessarily know where your daughter is. I think at that point she did, though.
Yeah, the thing is, it's an understandable moment. It's just frustrating.
But for the show and how they built it, this is a horrible place. You need to escape and maybe try to get your daughter from the outside. Whereas I guess, I'm not a father, or I haven't got any kids, so maybe it's different if I was in that situation. But it doesn't mean you're giving up. But this place, once you're going to get caught if you're staying, and then you'll be powerless to save your child. But anyway, going on to this season, I thought it may have dragged on, like get her to a way where she's nearly escaped. But no, she's in Canada now, and it's so interesting to watch the politics.
The Waterfords are in prison.
Yep. Well, they're pregnant, which is
mad. The trial is happening. This is a good season so far. Yeah,
and it's interesting the portrayal of women who have been through trauma, and it's like how the recovery goes and how it's not linear for anyone. It's some may recover quicker, like you don't really recover either.
Yeah, exactly.
And the dynamic between relationships of how do you act together after someone has gone through such a traumatic experience, and it's not necessarily, at least at the start, or maybe will ever be the same as how it once was before. Referencing June and her husband Luke.
Yeah.
It's an interesting take, and actually, like I said, look, maybe a season too late in terms of she should have escaped, but the pacing has been very good for the show, and the moment where June and Poussey met up was so emotional and was so unexpected, because they were escaping in a way, and basically the town they were in, they were, I guess, bombed, and we see June, in quite distress, and she sees someone, and so she was with the one-eyed girl.
Yeah,
Janine, sorry. I'm not great with names. And so...
And Poussey's in Canada at that moment.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
She thinks, I'm never going to see Poussey
as a volunteer, helping...
But exactly, she's a volunteer.
And so we see June see someone, it's like, oh, it must be Janine. And then it was Poussey, and it was such an emotional moment. And I think it built up, and everything made sense, but it was so unexpected, and it was fantastic. And even getting her to Canada was quite a trouble, but... Yeah.
She's there.
Great so far. Amazing.
Good job, June. We talked a lot about Canada now, isn't it?
I know. My head's spinning. And speaking of spinning, Bosch,
Jesus,
not the washing machine brand, but we've been watching the American crime show Bosch on Amazon. And it's again something Tara has watched, but kindly rewatching with me.
Yeah, and I've read all the books as well.
Exactly.
I'm a true fan.
So I think... And I think it's fair to say it's a very well done police show, but with sort of generic tropes.
Yeah.
A no-nonsense veteran cop who's all about blue law. Is that what they call it? Blue justice?
Yeah. It's weird watching after the year we've had, but
yeah, it is interesting.
It's kind of nice just to be like, it's like when we watched Line of Duty, but it's like Line of Duty was the opposite. It was like, getting bent carpers.
Yeah.
Whereas Bosch himself is a little bent,
He is. He bends the law somewhat.
He bends it, but like to do good, right? Yeah. But I guess it's nice just to like pretend that that's the normal world and that's what real coppers are like. But
But yeah, if you want a good quality police show that it's just very enjoyable, got good amount of action, because I guess Line of Duty did have a good amount of action, but this is a bit more hands-on, shall we say?
Yeah, I think it's the thing with Bosch is Bosch, It's just got such a strong character, and that's why I like the books as well.
Yeah.
And Titus Welliver just takes that role, makes it his own. I can't see anyone else as Bosch now. And yeah, I think new season coming up, so we're going to try and catch up. We're on about season 3, so we need to work a bit harder.
So we've got 4 more.
But we'll get there.
If you want another reason to watch it, he has an amazing house.
Oh, it's beautiful.
It's an amazing house.
Oh,
my friends told me, you just watch this show for the house, and you know what? They weren't wrong.
And they milked it. Every single other scene is the house, and that's fair enough. I'm not even angry. It's great.
If you thought, speaking of the Friends reunion, maybe we talk about, but if you thought Friends used Central Perk a lot, this is another level. Maybe not before 40-minute show, the views and the B-roll for it, or even just eating takeout. The amount of times we've seen them eat takeout in his house.
But he gets the plates out, I respect that.
Yeah, no.
It's a little thing.
He's not a savage like me. Or us, I don't know.
But yeah, I think maybe it's time to talk about something that has been 3 months in the making.
Or 1 month away.
Oh, is it? Oh, I didn't even know that. Okay.
Well, did I say 2? But
let's see how good your memory is, because last time on this podcast, we chose Wimbledon to watch.
Yes, we did.
I think we did anyway. If we didn't, someone correct us. Yeah. But Wimbledon, what were your thoughts?
It was a very nice watch.
Because I have thoughts.
Okay, interesting. So I'll give you a quick my opinion. Wasn't expecting much. Was a very underdog story. It was basically about a old athlete who hasn't had much success, and then it's about his journey potentially not to the final. Actually, it's a spoiler heavy show.
It's a love story, tennis story.
Yes.
Nothing wrong with it.
Long story short, Vision wins Wimbledon.
Yeah.
Somewhat unbelievable. A part of me really, so I think there was a message of the story of like, and even in life, getting all deep here, everybody always like aims for specific targets and goals in life, but the journey itself is what really fulfills you as well. Like, getting to that point is amazing, but you can also have fun along the way, and I think this movie did show that. I mean,
it's all about fun, didn't it? Honestly, all this movie taught me, to be honest, was if you want to win Wimbledon, just have sex. That's what the movie
If you're a guy.
If you're a guy. If you're a woman, it ruins you. Mad. But
So your thoughts?
Yeah, I've actually
Negative
got a bit of it. No. I've got a conspiracy theory.
Oh wow.
Or maybe not a conspiracy theory, but how well versed are you in the MCU, James?
I know some of my characters.
Okay. How about even wider than that? Just if we're just talking fandoms in general, I think Wimbledon, although it's not a superhero movie, although it's not like a fandom movie, is the peak fandom movie, the first one that set it all off.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So think about why I think that.
So Vision's in there?
Mm-hmm. Wait, when was the first Iron Man movie?
I would say 2008.
2008, okay.
Yeah.
So, we have Wimbledon. 2004. 4 whole years, right? Which is probably a good amount of time to develop.
Yeah.
Iron Man. So, Vision. Paul Bettany.
Lucky.
Amazing. Great in the role. But I feel like after these kind of shows, I didn't think I'd see him in much.
Mm-hmm.
And then, bang, MCU. Amazing. Kirsten Dunst.
Yeah.
Do you know what Kirsten Dunst is in? Oh, it may be
No.
before your time.
No. As in she was... No, was she not in the other movie we watched?
Yes, bring on. I mean, she Kirsten Dunst is the final shots actress, really. Spider-Man?
Oh!
Mary Jane?
Oh, crazy!
Do you remember who Paul Bettany's, or I guess Peter
Best
Colt's,
friend?
or his manager, yeah.
Oh, manager was the... what's his name? I'm really sad. I can't, he was Lucky in Iron Man, and he's... Not Russo.
This is
John
a
Favreau.
disappointment. John
Perfect.
Favreau. John Favreau. So that's enough, right?
Yeah,
That's enough. That's like the Marvel 3, right? I mean, Spider-Man is edging into Marvel. I don't quite understand the mechanics.
So they're Marvel now.
Okay, so the Marvel 3, right? Let me just put a few other nuggets in there.
Please.
It's not a Marvel at all, but I just thought this was like a nice little addition. Sam Neill.
Who's Sam now?
Kirsten Dunst's dad in the film.
Okay, can I see a picture?
This guy.
Ooh.
Shall I give you a little clue?
Was he in a lot? No, Jurassic Park.
Do, 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 do. Exactly. Which, I mean, although not Marvel, fandom, right?
Dinosaurs. What?
Exactly.
What more do you want?
Exactly. Who was his best friend?
The things he would do for love, eh?
Exactly. 40 Love, eh? And to be honest, I'm sure there's a lot more in here, but I'm just gonna finish off with who is Peter Colt's brother.
Could I see another picture?
I mean, when you see the picture.
Okay, I do not remember. Please reveal.
Remind me, is X-Men in the MCU?
Yes, it is now.
James McAvoy, Professor X.
Oh yeah.
Now this movie is literally just a Comic-Con. I mean, wild. I didn't even pick it up when I was watching it.
Wow, that's so true.
But having had the 3 months to really put together my plan is just unrivaled. It's unrivaled. I think John Favreau there just really, really nails it for me.
Crazy. So when they say take any opportunity you can, they're right, because networking is key, is what we've learned.
Look, Wimbledon might not have been the most successful film. I think it's like a 6 point something on IMDb. I loved it. But really, did it not just open up the space for this magnificent universe that we now have?
It's fantastic.
To be honest, I just want to see Sam Neill in the MCU now. I mean, I don't know how old he is. He's probably very old.
It is it definitely should be a footnote to the MCU, shouldn't it?
Yeah.
Wimbledon.
Yeah. Who'd have thought, eh?
Roger Federer.
So, I guess I'm curious what we'll uncover in our next movie.
Fantastic. There's a bit rusty. So how do we do this again?
I don't know whose turn it was.
Right.
Should we just do rock, paper, scissors?
Let's go.
One time only.
For those who will eventually listen, are we doing rock, paper, scissors or rock, paper, scissors, shoot?
What are we doing, James?
Rock, paper, scissors is the
course,
only right answer.
Okay.
Rock, paper, scissors.
Oh.
Scissors beats paper.
For fans out there, it's James's turn. This one's kind of dusty now. Would you like to take your pick?
Okay. Oh, I can see a B.
Ooh, like an actual B or just a letter?
Blades of Glory.
Oh, interesting.
Have you seen?
I have not
said
seen
movie?
Blades of Glory. I have seen Dodgeball. This is the shit sequel of Dodgeball. This is what I've been told. Have you seen Dodgeball?
No.
We need to watch Dodgeball. It's somewhere.
I assume it's in there, right? So when it comes to it, we'll watch as a prequel. Which
I'm worried though that because I'm sure we mentioned this before, but James watched Hobbit before Lord of the Rings, so then he thought Hobbit was better than Lord of the Rings. Somehow,
it's a hot take. It's a hot take.
It's the wrong take, but Blades of Glory is definitely not better than Dodgeball, but we'll see. We'll see. I mean, I haven't watched it.
If you're saying Blades of Glory is known to be worse, maybe that's a good order to watch it.
Maybe it is. But either way, that's the end of the podcast.
Yep, it's been a great return, Tara, I would say.
Yeah, please watch along with us and tell us what you think about Blades of Glory. Oh,
So how do we end this again?
I do not know, but I guess
Final shots? Signing out.
signing out.